Welcome to A Gay A NonGay. I'm James Barr. That's Dan Hudson. And today we welcome one of my comedy besties to our podcast. He's a comedian and Greg's ambassador, friends to a host of Drag Race finalists, and arch enemy of Courtney Act. Please welcome Joe Sutherland.
Hello.
Hi, babes.
Hi.
What's the tea with Courtney Act?
Oh, I just thought that's a fun thing to say. No, we met on working on a gay cruise this summer and had many an adventure. But I like the idea of a feud, a celebrity feud.
Yeah. Can we make that happen?
I think that's my way to become a celebrity, is to start the feud.
Right.
And then, the gossip is like, oh my God, who is this person feuding with? And then, there's the Daily Mail SEO, like clickbait articles that's like, incredibly sexy comedian Joe Sutherland from Coventry, 30 years old. La-di-da-di-da, and then it's like that's how you get the information out there.
It doesn't sound like you've thought too hard about this.
No, not at all.
Dan's going to be made up that you're from Coventry.
Yeah, I was thinking, where are you from? And you sound posh enough to be from where I'm from.
Oh, where's that?
Which is Solihull.
Solihull. No,
Why did you say it like Solihull? Is that how they say it?
Because I think some of them try to.
Yeah, some of the poshers.
Yeah.
They call it Solihull.
Yeah.
Solihull.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
That's so funny. It's famously the least gay place in the country.
What?
Yeah.
According to the census.
According to the census, yeah.
Is that why this happens?
Sort of.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you're probably in the Solihull world probably quite gay.
I guess so, yeah.
Do people heckle you when you walk down the street?
Yeah, they do, but it's people that I know, not.
They call you gay.
No, they're just like, I don't know, honk the horn or whatever.
Right.
My goodness, I once had actually a really lovely show in Solihull in lovely theatre.
The Library and Arts Complex.
Yeah, I think so. One of those regional theatres where you turn up and all the posters for the other shows are all tribute bands.
Yeah.
So it's all like the Adele Experience, the Taylor Swift Show, Bootleg Beatles, a Spice Girls where the Scary Spice is not black, and various other options. And I was sort of thinking like, God, I don't know. And it was a preview of a show a few years ago, and I was like, is it quite in place? And also like, how are they going to take this? It's very like tender subject matter.
Yeah.
And then had a delightful time. And this guy approached me in the car park afterwards, like head to toe tattoos, maybe about 3 teeth in his mouth. And he's going, do you know what? You were fantastic. You have got it. You've got like this, you're such a good performer. And I really loved it. And I'm a big comedy fan. I love Bernard Manning. And I was like, oh, have I gotten something wrong, or have I helped this man on a journey?
Yeah.
I couldn't quite tell where that was falling. I was like, are you saying I'm in the same camp
As Bernard Manning?
Yeah.
I wonder if he was secretly gay and just didn't know how to deal with it.
Maybe. Yeah. So I sucked him off to see what
Yeah.
would happen, and he never called me again.
I want to ask you how you feel being an aging twink. And have you experienced your twink death yet, Joe?
What? How old?
I don't know what you thought coming on this podcast was going to be like, by the way.
I didn't know it would be a knife in the front. Jesus.
You must be one as well, then.
Can we ask the guests the questions, please, rather than each other? Well, I suppose I'm asking you that from a selfish point of view, because I think I've passed twink death now. Mm-hmm. So, well, I definitely have, right? I'm looking at Dan.
I would think so. I mean, if you're saying
who knows when it actually occurs, right? Twink death could be anywhere between the ages of like 25 and 45, I would say.
And you're a twunk at that point. Is that
A twunk is?
I think one has to opt into twonkhood. Like there's a considerable effort needs to be made to
transition to a twunk.
To transition, yeah.
Right.
A twunk is like a hot twink. No,
it's like you're on your way to hunk, I suppose, but it's like you're early in a bodybuilding journey, I suppose.
Yes, yeah. Which is both of us, I think. Is it? So where are you at, do you think, on the scale? Because you're 30. 36, right. Yeah. Okay, I'm 40. Which you can't abbreviate. Yes, Dan, this year. You didn't know?
No.
Really?
When did you turn 40?
August, on my birthday.
Oh, really? Well, I guess because you didn't mention it. Like,
I know I didn't mention
which I
it.
realise why.
Yeah, I mean, it's horrific to have to talk about.
I didn't get an invite, so.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
I didn't have a birthday because I didn't want to talk about it, but
Right.
I'm bravely coming out on my podcast. And it's a lot, isn't it? It's really scary to have to deal with it. How are you feeling? Especially as I'm I'm the one talking it. Most people still call me a twink online. Like when I get trolled, they say I'm a stupid twink. So I think you also look very young.
Thank you.
So how are you feeling about your twink death?
Well, yeah, it's a considerable effort. I think I'm thinking long term. I don't want to look like I'm clinging to youth, and therefore I want to put effort into. I want to be prepared for what one's middle age does to one's body, and so I want to actively get bigger, put on weight.
Yes,
and then should any day now my teenage testosterone kick in, I'll be ready to take on some lovely facial hair or anything else that would come with it.
Go with the facial hair.
I mean, that's never going to happen to me. My dad, it's just not in his story, so it's not in mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to age gracefully. You don't want to look like you're clinging on.
Yeah, or if anything, I want to age in an accelerated way. I want to go from looking like a child to then looking like a, I don't know, hot Santa.
Yeah. Hot Santa. Have you watched Hot Frosty on Netflix?
No, I just saw a review of it this morning, though, and
I
think I'll give it a go.
Yeah, it's so great.
Hot Frosty.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
It's a snowman that becomes a real man.
No, it's a hot snowman that becomes a real hot man.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Right. But it's also so dumb. It's great. Yeah, I think there's a whole thing about age, though, in our community where it's like quite a lot to... I don't know. We don't really talk about it.
But there's also been, certainly in like the cis gay male or the gay male space, there's been, I think, new appreciations of older tropes, and there's more space for the bears, for the daddies, whatnot. But it's still very defined, you know. So it's what scares me is the transition in between.
Well, I don't think it happens. I think that's. I'm not sure there is one, and I don't feel like. Even in straight culture, I don't think 40-year-olds look 40. I think everybody looks so much younger.
Yeah.
Like my friends who are 50 look like they're 35. My sister looks like she's 35. She's older than me. I feel like everybody just look like, I don't know what it is. It must be something to do with the way we look after ourselves now, or the way we dress, or the way culture is. But I feel like everyone is much more youthful looking than what we used to see.
I think it's that we weren't raised on Findus crispy pancakes every night of the week.
Yeah, maybe it's that. And maybe we'll be all right. Maybe you will always look like. And actually, if you look at people like Alan Cumming, he doesn't look like he's that. I mean, he's older, but he doesn't look really old. He's not what I would say conventionally old looking. I'm trying to think of other older gays. There just aren't any, are there?
Ian
McKellen.
Well, Ian McKellen has always looked old.
Has he?
I know, that's such a wise pivot career-wise as well. We think of like the dearly recently departed Maggie Smith. She was playing old from like the age of 38.
Yeah.
I would love that ability, but...
And Elton John as well. He's always looked, to me, he's always looked older.
Has he?
Yeah, I think he's always looked old.
He's just always been old since you've been aware of him.
Do you think so? Bless him, Elton John. I guess that's it. So I just think we're gonna continue to look like twinks, basically. That's how I feel about it.
I don't understand, the next generation's culture, the music. Billie Eilish, it's just whispering. No, but did you see her at Glastonbury? She was like, are you ready to dance? And she got on a stool and did a poem about death. It was like, great night, man.
I saw you joking about Gen Zs on, or as you call them, Gen Zs. I'm not sure if that was a deliberate mistake or not.
It's not a mistake. That's the British pronunciation. We originated the language. They've got it wrong.
Yeah.
Right, but...
I agree.
So, wait, they're not Gen Z then?
No, they are Gen Z.
They are.
But I say Gen Z. Is that incorrort?
Well,
No,
you've
it's
taken
American.
the American.
Right, okay. Well, anyway, so I saw you coming for them. I can't believe that you don't like Billie Eilish. This is your celebrity feud waiting to happen, isn't it?
Oh, maybe. Well, this I've noticed for engagement upon the platforms, if you can lightly roast someone with a fandom, actually you get a good bump in the numbers. So
Right.
I'm thinking who to go for next.
What do you think? I mean, do you like Billie Eilish, Dan?
I think she's fine.
I see. I don't really like her either, but I'm surprised to see you come out about that. It feels like a brave thing to do.
Thank you. I do okay, Billy, right now, you have talent. You've got it in you. I just think you're frittering it in the wrong directions.
Such a good word.
Yeah, but did you see that David Letterman interview show and so he visits the studio with her and Phineas, and they're chopping the vocals, and it saddens me. She has an incredible voice. Like, actually, when she sits and does like a live acoustic number, like there's really good performances online of her doing "Try Not to Abuse Your Power." That one. Almost as good as that.
I think that's quite a good impression, actually.
And it's a wonderful performance. But then, like, so much of like the music that she produces is like all of that is minimized, and then the way that it's edited is like one note will be from about 7 takes all spliced together.
But that's what Girls Aloud did.
They didn't sound as good as Actually, you know what? I watched the live concert on ITV X the other day. Nicola was holding down those vocals. Oh my God.
They did such a good job of their vocals on this tour. It was literally so good.
And also, when I did see her live, I was just disappointed that there were so many layers of pre-record backing vocal. I was like, I can't hear you. Yeah.
Right.
I can't hear you. And it's like, what is the point in being here? If all I can hear is the record.
I don't want to get cancelled here, but I'll take one for the team. Don't you think that Lana Del Rey is kind of the same level of miserable sort of...
Yeah, but that's the point.
Like lusty vocals.
Yeah, but
really
that's entirely the point of it.
Isn't that the same for Billy?
No, I mean, there's definitely a lineage from one to the other, but the whole point, it's so glorious. I saw Lana Del Rey headline at Latitude Festival a few years ago. Latitude, famously in, I want to say Sussex. Suffolk, there we go. But Lana was not to know this, and so the first time she spoke after doing a couple of songs was it's so good to be back here, so close to London.
Yeah.
And the whole show, for every song, she was either sitting or lying on a different piece of furniture. And I loved it.
That's so millennial.
It was so good. Because it's like, it's the character, it's the art, is to be like, I know I could give more,
but I don't need to.
Yeah.
That's like us, isn't it, Dan?
Maybe.
Do you get jealous of things like Heartstopper? Why are you looking at me like that? I feel like you hate all my questions. Because as an older gay, I think I watch those shows and I can't decide. I'm somewhere between being jealous and bitter and being really happy. And if I'm looking at you talking about Gen Zs, then I wonder where you're at on that scale.
This is a hard one because I'll just put it out there. I'm very good friends with the producer of Heartstopper. And I've made sure to never have a conversation with him about the show.
Really?
It's not for me, is all I'll say. So in that respect, no, I don't get jealous.
That's so funny.
Because you know what? I feel like I secretly stayed up and watched Sex and the City.
Yeah.
And I feel like I learned far more.
That's so fair. Like, my education of being gay was probably Sex and the City, watching Graham Norton, which is just an interview show, but for some reason it
it was a little more scandalocious, you know. There was the risk.
It was a gay man on television, so it was like, you know.
But also the pre-BBC show, when it would be you know, you'd have Judi Dench sat on the couch and it would be like, look at this dildo.
It educated, it informed, it entertained. So that's so funny that you have a producer friend on it, but that's how I feel about it. I feel like it's just like, I watched a couple of seasons and it was beautiful, but I don't know if I can keep doing that to my nervous system.
Because what?
Because it's just really traumatic, because that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, that didn't happen to me.
Right.
And a lot of people are like, it's such a healing piece of TV.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think I need to see that.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy without. Moving on slightly, I want you to describe the gay cruise to Dan, because I know we've talked about it a lot, but I'm not sure Dan is really familiar with it.
It's really very simple, I suppose.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
You imagine a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got that in your mind?
Yeah.
It's massive, right? So the capacity is in the thousands.
Yeah.
Now imagine 98% of those thousands of people are all gay men. The remainder are mostly women who are there as sort of emotional support beings, I
Right.
suppose.
But I didn't know there were any women on board.
Oh, of course.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so sometimes really not many.
Yeah.
I've done some where there's been maybe 2,500 guests on board. 11 of them have been women. Wow. Yeah. And then it's hilarious, like getting to know some of those women, because they do in a way get treated like celebrities. You know, they walk around and everybody's like, hey girl, you look amazing. End of conversation. That's the most they say to them the whole week.
And everyone knows their names, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but nothing more. The relationships go no deeper. And so then you also often witness the women who have maybe not come together on the cruise, but like at a party, they'll kind of on the dance floor zoom over to each other to just be like, solidarity, how are you doing?
Wow.
Some people bring their older parents. There's a very hilarious, like classic circuit gay who brings his mum on multiple cruises per year, and she's fabulous. In fact, I met her in a store. It was super, super boiling hot somewhere in Greece, and I walked into this air-conditioned shop because I'd already sweated through my vest and was like, I've got to get a new one. And she was in there, and she sort of gave me a look like, yeah, it's exhausting, isn't it? It's really hot. Oh fuck, I've given away her identity by using an accent. She's like,
What accent was that? Sorry.
clearly Australian.
Australian.
She's like, yeah, it's bloody boiling. But that's just punishment for everything we've been doing. Well, not me. What you guys have been doing. Mums don't get punished. And then she walked away cackling. I was like, fabulous.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I haven't been on a gay cruise either, but I'm desperate to do one. Is it like sex driven?
I would say it's a choose your own adventure. And I would say, no, it's also not sex driven. And I know this because on one cruise, I met two women in their 50s and 60s who are swingers. So they're used to going on swingers cruises.
Okay.
And I was speaking to one of them one morning and she was like, this is the tamest cruise I have ever been on. It is so vanilla. Wow. And I was like, what? I mean, I've seen people sucking each other off on the dance floor. And she's like, that is nothing, honey. Come on my cruise. And I was like, okay, well, you know, what are you expecting? She's like, well, you know, we're 3 days in and I've only had 5 guys. I'm like, you've had 5 gay men? She's like, well, people are curious. It's like, I've had 0. And yeah, she was having a whale of a time. But so that tells you that actually, yes, there is a lot of sexual activity taking place, but it's not the... I mean, I can't speak for... There are these big January cruises which go from California down to the Gulf of Mexico and back, and they have been described to me as a sort of... war zone.
Wow.
No, it's you know what it is? It's all of the LA gays.
Yeah.
You know,
Say no more.
The ones who think that the G in LGBT stands for G.
Yeah.
And they don't get off the boat. They do not sleep for 5 days.
No way.
Yeah. Whereas the ones that I've worked on have been way more mixed, and so you know, there's lots of delightful things to it. There's a mix of generations. You get to meet queer elders, and
Love that.
And yeah, that's what I had never quite. The first time I did it, I hadn't prepared myself for the emotional, like, sucker punch that can take place on these cruises. And so each and every time I have worked one, there will come a night about 4 or 5 nights in where I'm getting ready for a show and I haven't slept as much as I should have. And I'll be, you know, in the dressing room or whatever, sort of getting ready, thinking about the audience, thinking about how to like angle the material. What have I used on other nights? Is there anything bespoke that I've written? And then I'm thinking about the people in the audience. And then I'm thinking about like some of the people I've seen who are in those older generations who they're here, they're surviving, they've lost friends, they've like come out of marriage. And I'll just like slowly start weeping into the mirror. And I'm like, I've got to do comedy. So yeah, it's incredibly sweet and touching, and also wild. There's like 2 parties a day.
I mean, it sounds amazing.
It sounds like a nightmare. Go and see Joe's tour. Check out his website for details. joesutherland.co.uk.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you so much for being on A Gay A NonGay.
Thank you.